4,000 videos. That's how many, technically, it's 4,000 pieces of content that I have published over on the Amazon platform. And so I'm kind of going live, I'm going live. Just to kind of celebrate that. So every time I hit a big milestone in my business, I just want to kind of document it along the way, and I enjoy doing that via live stream. So appreciate you checking this out if you're checking it out live, or if you are checking it out after the fact on the replay. And be sure to leave me a comment there and let me know that you watched it or that you are watching it. So really appreciate, first of all, just everyone who's been a part of this journey. It's been pretty amazing. 4,000 videos or 4,000 pieces of content in the last 34 months. It's technically been 35 months, but I took a month off. So I didn't do anything for the last month of doing this business. I took some time off, was in the process of moving, doing all that fun stuff. And it was really kind of a fun test to see, like, can the assets that I've created over the last several years make money when I'm away? And the answer was yes. So that was pretty fun. So anyway, I've had a lot of fun. So I just crossed that 4,000 mark today. I uploaded, I think, like 7 videos or something to Amazon. Now this 4,000 number is just the amount of content that I've posted to the Amazon platform. So this doesn't count like podcasts or live streams or anything else that I've done outside of Amazon. So what's up, my friend Brandon Graybill? What's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on. And so yeah, man, good to see you. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So I started this journey, and just to kind of test it out. I give it like a test. And this is what I always, come back to, is like, why did I start doing this again? Because 4,000 videos in 34 months, I mean, do the math. It's about 117 pieces of content per month is about average. And so I started doing it because I didn't have anything else to do, to be honest. So, rewind the tape a little bit. I kind of came into content creation on the tail end of actually on the front end of the pandemic, and started doing a fishing podcast. And then from there, networked, met a couple guys on Clubhouse, my friend Monty Weaver and Chris Giles. And then, they were telling me about this Amazon influencer thing. And they're like, dude, if you like doing brand deals, if you like doing live shows, if you like doing all this stuff, you should go check it out and do it. And so I started checking it out for like 10 months. I barely just did anything. I think I did like 30 videos, and then I just watched what the industry was doing. And then I realized, like, oh, there's this opportunity in this live selling shoppable content space, and I'm in the front of it. I'm in the beginning. And that, for me, that was very exciting, because I wasn't in the beginning of the internet. I wasn't in the beginning of the .com boom. I wasn't in the beginning of Facebook. I wasn't in the beginning of any of those things. But I was in the beginning of shoppable content and live selling and all that fun stuff here in the States anyway. And so it was a little bit intriguing, just that industry. And so that's kind of why I got started, doing all this type of stuff, was because, I saw there was an opportunity. I was already making a little bit of money at it. And then when I decided to go full tilt on this project, I think it was 2022. July of 2022, maybe, if I have that right. So yeah, it's basically almost 3 years next month. And so anyway, we got home to North Carolina, and I said, I'm going to give it 90 days. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it 90 days, and I'm going to start trying to leverage the Amazon platform and work directly with brands and directly with sellers on there. And so I'm grateful for all those people. I'm grateful for all the sellers, the agencies I've worked with, to make this possible, to even be able to do one video, more or less 4,000 videos. And these aren't just like regular videos you put on YouTube. These are videos that live on Amazon and that pay me a residual income every single month. Like I said, regardless if I'm working or not. I took 30 days off, and they were still paying out that entire time. Every single day I was earning something on there. And so I think that was the kind of the moment I realized, like, this can be a full-time business. And it didn't happen right away. So I did it for 90 days. I give it a little test and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. So I'm going to go I'm going to go 90 more days or whatever it was. Well, those first couple months of that second 90 days was after the holiday. So it was pretty slow. And at that point, I'm like, I don't know if this is a year-round business or not. And then right after February, March kicked up, that first year, and it was awesome. And it started really doing well. And then over time of putting out these pieces of content, people recognize you. They begin to see your workflow. They begin to see that you're, can be trusted with products and projects and all this kind of fun stuff. And so it was awesome to be able to, build this business over time and then have people reach out to me eventually to do this. So it's been a lot of fun, and that's the reason why I got into it. And then I realized, like, oh, this is kind of like Christmas morning. Like, I get new stuff in the mail every day. I get to open it because I do a deal and I kind of forget what it is or what's coming. And that's what I get to do. So it's been a lot of fun, but it doesn't happen without a community of people. So there's been just a phenomenal community of content creators that I've been able to hang out with, and that I've been able to meet through this whole entire process. That I do, I do my internet life with, I guess, if I have like, like a virtual world and a real world. I spend a lot of time talking to other content creators. What about the opportunities in the shoppable space and the selling space and all this fun stuff? And so it's been a fun journey to be able to literally like make 4,000 plus pieces of content. Like I said, this is mostly on Amazon. I've done side projects and UGC content and all that stuff. So it's well over 4,000 pieces of content, but it has been just a ton of fun and a ton of different products, some really cool products, some really weird products and all that. But one of the things that I really learned, through this whole process, which this might sound, pretty elementary to other people, but some of the lessons I've learned is that just showing up and doing the work is what matters. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the best. It doesn't have to be, top tier, top shelf. It just like show up, do the work, be authentic to yourself, and start to make your mark in the industry that you're in, regardless of what that looks like. Now, this is a little bit different. Obviously, it's kind of a newer thing. And I mean, I put my best foot forward. I'm creating the best quality content that I can. And I'm also creating a frequency of content because the budgets for these projects aren't very high. So I have to kind of make this system work where it makes sense for both parties. So that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different of an industry maybe. But yeah, I would definitely say in this space and the way I've done it, that volume beats perfection. It doesn't have to be super great. And I feel like my videos are still much better than some that are still making money on the platform. So I won't beat up on anybody too much, but do the best you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And in this whole content creation journey and creating all these videos, none of them have been perfect. And especially if you talk to people who are like diehard artist content creators, they probably hate me. So let's see what else. So I had some talking points here just to kind of share. So yeah, once again, I don't think volume to me is better than perfection, but systems really matter. And I kind of learned this throughout the whole process. It was like, it's really easy to go get brand deals. It's easy to get people to send you stuff. What's very difficult is to keep up with all those projects through the pipeline. When you're talking about 100 plus deals coming to you as a solo entrepreneur, and I'm doing the deal on the upfront, negotiation, logistics of getting the product. When I get the product, where does it go? How do I store it? How do I, move it through my pipeline and get the project done? And how do I get paid? Like, that's a whole system. And that system really, really, really matters when you are trying to build a business in the content space, and really any space, systems matter. And I kind of learned that, in this whole process too, of like, you can't just fly by the seat of your pants. You gotta, you gotta document the process and figure it out. What's up, my guy, Kirk Nugent in the chat? What's up, Kirk? Good to see you, man. Let's see who else we got in the chat over here real quick. I haven't went live in so long, I forgot how to do this. What's up, Lee Williams? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. And Kirk, you got that link in the chat, man. Feel free to jump on it. If not, I'll send it to you again. But if you want to hang out, anyway, sorry. I sent a friend of mine a picture of this ginormous centipede. It's like not the width of my hand, but definitely longer than my hand. So I was trying to figure out what that was here in Puerto Rico. So let's see, what else have I been messing around with here that I wanted to talk about a little bit. So what would I do differently if I started today? This is one of the things I wrote down. If I started today, what would I do different? You know what? I would probably figure out, I don't know what I would do. I would probably figure out how to get help sooner. And maybe I would not hold this tight onto the system once I got it, and I would bring somebody else on a little bit sooner. Now, I brought somebody else on too quick and made that mistake. But I would probably find some things for other people to do in my business and kind of take some of that daily work grind off of me. So that's probably what I would do a little bit different. But I don't think you can start off too quick. And if you've been listening to my podcast, and by the way, I did relaunch my podcast called Creating Daily. Haven't really promoted it at all, but just go look up Creating Daily with Billy Thorpe and you can find it. And one of the things I talk about is kind of the different phases in growing a content creator business. And really, once again, it's any business. And you kind of get in this hustle phase where it's like you're doing everything. And this is a good phase to be in because you learn all the aspects of your business. You learn, what to do, how to do it, what happens when you don't do something, or, whatever. You learn the process, but you got to quickly figure out, how do I get out of that? And that is by building systems. So if you haven't checked out those new episodes, go check those out. And then I think, one of the biggest mindset shifts I've had as a content creator is you can just do it your way. I think so many times I would get stuck in the analysis paralysis portion of, content creation. And it was really analyzing what everyone else was doing and what was working for them. And I would just I would consume way more than I would produce. And I think this is a huge, huge, huge problem if you are in any type of business, but definitely in this content creation business, because it's so easy to just scroll and find content and look at what other people are doing and not focus on what you're doing. And I think that's one of the biggest things that will kill a content creator. It will wear you down and burn you out, is when you're so focused on what the person beside you is doing. Like, don't worry about them. Their life is not your life. Their situation is not your situation. Their desires are not your desires. Like, none of that stuff matters. Like, focus on what you have going on and focus on what you can control. So I think that was one of the biggest mindset shifts I had was, it doesn't have to be perfect. And it doesn't have to be like everyone else. And you might fight an uphill battle. And I sure did, man. I fought a battle multiple times in conversation. Nothing like real. Obviously, I wasn't getting a gladiator sword and running at anyone. But it was one of the biggest things for me to overcome was what other people think about my business. Because everyone has an opinion. And other content creators will have an opinion, and sometimes they'll say, well, you're devaluing, or you shouldn't be doing this, or you should be charging more, or you should. And everyone can have opinions, and I do. I have opinions about people's businesses all the time, but I've never been in that business. I've never, really been in their shoes, so I don't know their situation, and I don't know what it is. So it's a lot easier to just come at it from a you should standpoint and give people, tips from the sideline and kind of armchair quarterback their business, or what they have going on. So that is kind of funny to, just be mindful of that. So um the next thing I want to talk about is, like, I get this question a lot, is how do you do this without burning out? And I think you have to, one, you got to really figure out what type of system and business meets your personality. In this business, it's almost like it was created for my brain. Like, I am very interested and very curious on a lot of different things. I don't like to spend too much time on one project, so I'm never probably going to be the guy who, like, works in film and can sit down for 3 or 4 or 5 months and write scripts and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't. I mean, just for me to even put bullet points down and try to keep a train of thought on this live stream itself is a challenge. So I needed some quick hit things that just enabled me to, pick up a product, talk about the benefits, the features, the pros, the cons, the, quality, all that fun stuff, and be done with a video in 1 to 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes tops. I just needed something like that and I love just like quick pace, quick go, next thing. I'm like a real task oriented person. And so I love just that quick hit done. And that's one thing that I, kind of figured out is, how do you build something like that you really love? And then I think when those burnout moments come, because, every business, every project, everything has, like, there's really fun stuff you love about it, and there's just really crappy stuff. I mean, there's not a perfect business, right? It's like, I'm not going to love every aspect of my business. There's, like, some I love and some I hate. But I think it's just realizing that and not letting yourself, making a decision like, this is what I can control. I'm not going to burn out. I'm not going to let myself burn out. That's not even going to be a word that I use, but I'm going to rest. What keeps something from burning out is putting some water on it. Like, drink some water, get some rest, chill out, take a day off, take an afternoon off, spend time with your friends, spend time with your family, go do something completely different than what you're normally used to doing. Just step away and don't think about everything that you have going on just for a moment. And I think in that moment you can kind of catch your breath and go, oh, okay, this is not as bad as I think it is. Actually, I was having this conversation with some friends the other day because we were talking about, sometimes when we're in our business or we're in our job or whatever the case is, sometimes you are thinking like, man, I would just love to not do this. I'd love to just go to a factory and just push a red button every 45 seconds or whatever, and then just go home and, like, not think about any of the other things that you think about as a content creator or a business owner. But we all started laughing because we're like, yeah, we do that for about 45 minutes, and then we'd be like, okay, we're out of here. We're going back to the business. And I think it's oftentimes like that where we might think the grass is greener on the other side, and it's really not. Like, it's really, not. And we were kind of having this joke, and I said, it would be funny to have, like, a big warehouse of all these different jobs. And when you think that, you just walk in and start doing one of those jobs for like 20 minutes, and then you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm going to go back and do my own thing. And so that was a pretty funny conversation. So there's every job, every business, everything has pros and cons, ups and downs, in and outs that you're gonna love and you're gonna hate. So just realize that, and you're not gonna burn out. If you just realize it's okay, I can take a step back and do something else for a few minutes. Okay, let me see what else we got here. What still surprises me about working with brands? I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of situations that's happened that have been surprising, some in a good way, some in a bad way. I can't think of anything else that's still, like, I can't think of anything recent, which, like I said, I've taken like 30 days off. So I just got back into the groove this week of getting videos accomplished and all that stuff. So Um, all right, let's see. What other questions do I normally get here? Uh, okay, so I was going to talk about workflow breakdown a little bit because this is a question I always get. Like, how do you do that? And so basically, like in a system of any kind, you just create in any business really too. So for all you people who are like, oh, you own a business, you can do what you want, when you want, how you want. Like that's kind of true, but not really. You still have to have a structure, what days and weeks and how to stay consistent and all that fun stuff. And so my wife and I both own businesses, and we spend a lot of time talking about this. Like, what's the best hours? What's your best hours? When your best, when can you get in the deep work and all that stuff. So we've been all over the map and testing out different days and times and depending on the projects we have going on, we can kind of flip and flop our schedules and family time and all this stuff. And so that's really how I've been doing it, was like wake up early, 4:35, be at work by 6, be home by 11:30, by 11:30. So be done at work by 11. So 5-hour days, 5 days a week is kind of basically how I structured it. Now I'm like working on a new workflow because we're in a new spot, new place, all that kind of fun stuff. And as far as like the tools and the tech, I think this is where I've really had a lot of success, is finding really good partners as far as like tools in tech and CRM. So I got a really great CRM company. I got Ecamm Live, which I'm using to go live streaming here, which I don't really use that many features. I should just have a couple pull in, pull out camera shots even on this live show to keep it more interesting. But I do have a lot of that kind of stuff. Different microphones. I get some Shure. Got a Shure microphone here. These little wireless mics I use. I got a bunch of that kind of stuff. And really what it does is it just makes your life easy, right? Like people are like, oh, you can shoot on your phone, and that's great. And you really can, but you can only shoot so much on your phone. Then the storage goes up. Or what if you get a phone call while you're shooting? Or what if you need your phone for something else? And I just like having a spot where I can just come, sit down, and record videos. And like, I'm not thinking about, the other 50,000 things I do on my phone, and is it charged, and do I have the tripod, and do I have the camera setting mode, all that crap. I don't care. I have cameras, I have lights, I have plenty of storage on my computer and other places. And I don't know if you guys heard that robotic sound, but I definitely did. But anyway, so I have all that stuff, which makes it really easy for me to batch film. So I can come in here and record. Today I did 7 videos in just a few hours. I don't really do a whole lot of editing. It's just mainly one take, and then I can just upload stuff there. So I definitely believe in getting that batch recording, that process done like that. And then if you can delegate stuff, if you can hire people to help you, then that is a great deal too. Cool. Well, I think that's about it. I have some other conversation breakdown of talking about average deals from then versus now, and what kind of deals have made up my bulk income and all that fun stuff. But if you want to learn, more in depth, if you're like kind of curious, if you want to dive into it, I do have the opportunity for you to sign up for I'm going to do a 5-day challenge. So I've been challenged to do a challenge. And so anyway, you can go check that out at billythorpe.live/challenge. Or if you have your phone on you, if you're watching on your computer or your TV, you can scan the QR code, or you can screenshot the QR code and go over there as well. Better Basketball Training. What's up? Says congratulations on 4K. Uploads in 34 months. That is insane. Yeah, I've taken a lot of shots. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I've taken a lot of those. So it hit some, missed some, and it's just been a ton of fun. So appreciate you dropping in. And let's see what else. So yeah, if you're interested in any of this kind of business model that I've been able to use as a content creator, and I really leverage platforms. I tell people all the time, like, I don't rely on a platform to pay me. Sure, I get paid by Amazon, and it's great. But if Amazon went away tomorrow, I still have a book of business of over 1,000 contacts that I could reach out to and offer a different product, different service to. So, if you are interested and you want to see what this is all about, I am going to do that 5-day challenge. It is a paid challenge. And I will walk you through my entire business model, kind of how I got here, what I do, how I do it, how I do a frequency. So I do a low ticket, high frequency business model, kind of how I structure all the deals, all that kind of fun stuff. And a lot of people ask me that. They go, why low ticket, high frequency? Because I want to make content. I want to be shooting product videos. I don't want to be a sales guy. And I realized that a high ticket video project is going to be a salesperson, and it's going to be me first, and then it's going to be me hiring someone, and then I'm like really particular about sales, so then it's going to be me again. So anyway, I love the low ticket, low friction, high frequency, and it just creates consistent streams of revenue in multiple different ways. So that's from reselling, affiliate stacking strategies, all this stuff to add additional revenue to it. So definitely, if you're interested in that, check that out. And I'll be giving some more information. I'm just kind of building the wait list right now for the first one, but you'll be on that wait list. So let's see. Let's go back over here to some comments. Let me see. Let me pull them up here. Let's see. Congratulations. Did you ever do anything more with Vimeo? Yeah, I still have that. I still have full access to Vimeo. I'll be doing some more stuff with those guys as I get settled in. So just this week has been pretty wild. Have you returned to Puerto Rico? Yes, I did. I returned to Puerto Rico, and that's part of working from home now. I am in one of the rooms here, and got dogs barking and a 6-year-old running around. So it might be a little bit chaotic, but it works for us in this moment. But I am actively looking for an office space. So if anybody's watching this on the west coast of PR, let me know if you got one. All right, cool. Let's see, what else do we get going on? What else? Okay, cool. This is gonna be great. I got a few more minutes here, and then I'm gonna wrap this thing up. So what would I focus on if I was gonna start over today? So if all 4,000 videos went away, and I have no videos whatsoever, what would I start doing from zero? I would probably go into the UGC space, user-generated content. I would probably focus a little bit more on higher ticket videos that I just sell the rights to. And you might say, well, that's a little bit crazy, but I would do it more in a short form, quick turnaround, be able to produce 10, 15, 20 videos a day. Excuse me. Stuff like that. So that's if I didn't have Amazon access, if I didn't have any platform access, no monetization on platforms or whatever. So like if I were just getting right out of the gate, only thing I know how to do is show up and be on camera, I would go into user-generated content, and then I would go get on like Fiverr or Upwork or something of that nature. I would build 30-second, 60-second videos that are in a vertical format about products that I already know, love, and trust, and just build a 25 to 30 video a portfolio. That's what I'm trying to think of. That's what I would do if I had no access to Amazon whatsoever. All right, cool. Or I'd start a podcast that's hyper niche and go get sponsorship deals, which is what I did the first time. I'd probably do that the second time as well. All right, cool. So where are the opportunities, and are they shifting? Here's the thing I think about opportunities. So this is a question I get all the time. Is like, is there still opportunity inside of the Amazon Influencer Program? I think the answer is yes. I think anything live selling, shoppable content, I think all that stuff is just pretty fresh, especially in this part of the world, in the US. and it's just going to keep getting better and better. Now, I think there's going to be some tricky things with AI that's going to come out. Somebody sent me something the other day where these two live sellers basically created avatars of themselves, and they were like doing a 6-hour live show, but it was just all AI based avatars, which was mind boggling. It was like, what? That is so crazy. Which was okay. So anyway, I don't know my question I asked myself. I don't have anybody asking me questions. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Oh yeah, where's the opportunity at? So I think it's still, I think there's a ton of opportunity in content creation. I think if you have the ability to show up on camera and communicate halfway effective, I mean, obviously watch this show or watch this live stream, and you're gonna be like, wow, this guy makes money with video. He can't even keep his thoughts together, and that's what I'm talking about. And I think it's the person who shows up, does the work, and leverages their skill set. Too many times, I think as content creators, we're always trying to figure out, how do I make money on YouTube? How do I make money on a podcast? How do I make money on, Instagram or TikTok or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, how do you make money with your skill set? And can you take that from one thing to the other? Because it's not, how do I make money with my podcast, or how do I make money with YouTube or whatever. It should be, how do I make money across the board with each one of these things? How do I monetize? If that's your goal, to monetize, which is always my goal, then I think you have to start to diversify, but use your skill set to diversify. And it might not be what you want to be doing, right? You might want to be, I don't know, talking about, noodling fish out of a hole, a catfish out of a hole. Is that what they call it? I'm gonna feel that's weird. I don't know if that's what that's called. I think it is, where you stick your hand in one of those holes and pull out a catfish. But you might want to do that, and that might be the content you want to create. And even though I think that's pretty niche, and you could get some sponsorship deals, but you may have to do some Amazon stuff. Like there was a guy in my mastermind group not too long ago who came in, he took my workflow, took my system, and turned 25 hours, 30 hours a week into like 5 hours a week, and then used that income to fund his passion project that he really wanted to be doing on YouTube. But he just used his skill set to do that. So that was pretty cool. So let's see. What else we got? Let's see. That's great. You'll feel comfortable. Thanks for sharing. Keep powering. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Better Basketball Training. Emily, let's see. What's the question here? It says, what are your thoughts on TikTok Shop? I'm making about 1K a week, but that is going live. I think if you're making 1K a week going live and you love going live, then I would definitely keep doing that. Now, I think on any of these platforms, you got to figure out a way how you are getting paid by someone else other than the platform. Because we know right up front with TikTok, like TikTok could be gone tomorrow. I don't know what the status is of TikTok and all that stuff, but I know another person that's on TikTok. And then they got their account erased like 6 times. I feel bad for the guy. He got his account erased like 6 times. He had some problems with Amazon, got his Amazon account shut down. And so I think if you're just relying on those programs and those platforms and you don't have a contact list outside of that, then you got to figure that out. Because I think the business model of trying to go viral is toxic. And I just think it's very risky to always feel like, man, I got to produce this next viral video. This thing's got to pop off. This thing's got to make da 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 da. It's like it's got to do whatever. I think that's a pretty risky business to be in when you're relying on the platform, when you could be leveraging the platform. So take those numbers, take that content, take that stuff that you've already done, and figure out how to go work directly with sellers or brands or whatever, and then, create content for them, and they can take that to wherever they're selling it. That would be what I would recommend. So if you're doing both of those, like I'm doing both of those on Amazon, like I'm making decent money off of Amazon itself, and I'm also making money by working with sellers, by working with brands, then that's the best of both worlds. But if one of those goes away, then I have the other one to rely on a little bit. And once again, so I want to make this very clear that just because you work with sellers and you work with brands, doesn't mean you're out of the woods either. And this is why diversification matters, because we saw this when Trump put those tariffs on of 145%. The market went, that's what it did in my business. My business went down like 70% because and it wasn't because people didn't want to work or they didn't want to promote their product or didn't want to make videos, but they were just like paused because they had to figure out their whole business again to say like, okay, what are the numbers? What's this really costing? How's this going to work? Can I even do business in the States? Maybe I got to go find another, platform or whatever. And some of these things you can't control. But what I was able to control, I was like, okay, well now what do I do? And that's where in that moment I had this thought of like, this is over. And all I have left is me and my skill set to go create something else. So what did I start doing? I started doing research, trying to figure out, okay, what types of companies don't rely on manufacturing in China? What kind of companies don't rely on a physical product? Those are digital products. That's software. And so if I can make a product video about this remote, then I can make a product video about Ecamm Live. I can make a product video about whatever. And so I think that's where we have to really be careful on any of these platforms is they can go away and they can kick you out. They can just go away. The government can do something to make those things go away. And so I don't think it has to be like you got to live in fear, but I think you got to have your head on a swivel and figure out how do you get contacts in your pockets. So that's where I would think is the best. I don't want to rely on an algorithm or a viral video. Now, if you're killing it and you're crushing at viral videos and you're like, I know the secret sauce to the algorithm, I'd say take full advantage of it. But for me, it makes me too nervous. So, and I've seen so many people get smoked by these platforms where it's just like, you're just a number. You're not even a number. Like you're just an account and it goes away and nobody cares. Like they're like, whatever. And you hear about it all the time where somebody's like, dude, I made 30 grand on TikTok going live the first month and now I've made nothing for the last 6 months. And I'm like, that's not a business. That is a problem. Like that is they got lucky and now you're not lucky, or whatever. So anyway, all right. Well, that's recapping my 4,000 videos that I've made, and I'm pretty excited about it. So what's next? Who knows? Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes peeled. But I am doing the workshop I talked about, the 5-day challenge. So go check that out. And I apologize for keep coughing. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, go check that out. This is a 5-day challenge. It is going to be a paid challenge, but you can get on the waiting list and get some first information as I put it together. I'm just kind of gauging people's interest right now to see, are people interested in learning this business model that has helped me reach over $100,000 a year in profit, and then into 20 to 25 hours a week of work, which has been pretty amazing. I've worked with over 1,000. I think I just exported a list of contacts. So it's like over 1,300 or something. So it's pretty wild. With the last 4,000 videos I've done last almost 3 years has accomplished. So it's been good, and it has allowed me to do a lot of cool stuff in life. My wife and I paid off all of our debt, so we were able to do that. And we were able to knock a huge chunk of credit card debt out by leveraging these income streams, and then also doing some other creative stuff on that side. So I won't get into all. I nerd out about that stuff too. I won't get into that, but check it out. Velocity Banking. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. If you have if you have cash flow, Velocity Banking works. Anyway, this is not financial advice. Just go check it out. Go check it out. See what you think. Anyway, so we were able to do some really cool stuff like that. And then, and it's been passive. So like I said, the last 30 days, I didn't work. And although I don't rely on Amazon, I leverage it over the last 30 days when I was in transition, moving, took down my studio, couldn't really make a video. I was still making money every single day off of these videos. So think about your video as an asset. It's not, and that's another thing I love about shoppable content that lives somewhere for a long time, is when you go live, this video is probably going to go away. Like, I mean, maybe there's going to be a replay or whatever, Maybe some people will watch it, but the short form video stuff kind of goes away pretty quick. But when you're on a product page and your video is on a product page, then it's awesome. So, because I don't, you can go out there and work when you're sleeping. All right. Well, that is it for me. I will talk to you all later. Thanks for jumping on if you watch live. Thanks for saying hello if you are watching the replay. And we'll talk soon. See ya.